Welcome to B&B Spoiler Zone. Fire your #1 place for all the juicy spoilers, shocking twists, and behind-the-scenes buzz from the bold and the beautiful. If you don't want to miss what's coming next in episode, you're in the right place. The shocking twist that changes everything. The world of the bold and the beautiful is no foreigner to jaw-dropping twists, heartbreaking backstabbings, and shocking love triangles. But this time, the stakes have no way been advanced. According to the rearmost spoilers, Ridge Forrester is eventually moving forward with his plans to be with Brooke Logan formerly and for all. That means he's pulling the draw on his marriage with Taylor Hayes. Now, that decision alone is dramatic enough to rock Los Angeles to its core. But then's where effects get darker. Brooke's life may be in peril as the fallout from Ridge's choice begins to helical of control. Taylor Hayes is devastated, but her response pales in comparison to that of her changeable son, Thomas Forrester. Could Thomas's preoccupation, treason, and rage drive him to do commodity shocking that puts Brooke at threat? Ridge Forrester breaks Taylor's heart. The forthcoming occurrences will showcase Ridge in a familiar position standing at the crossroads of two women's lives. Suckers have seen this triangle play out numerous times, but this moment feels final, endless, and dangerous. Ridge calls off the marriage, leaving Taylor shattered. Taylor, played by Rebecca Budig, has always lived in Brooke's shadow, but this time, the treason cuts indeed deeper. She eventually allowed. She had Ridge's heart, only to watch him run back to the woman who has always visited their love story. And while Taylor may retreat into heartache, one person who wouldn't take this smoothly is her son, Thomas. Thomas Forrester, from genius developer to dangerous villain? Matthew Atkinson's depiction of Thomas has always balanced on the edge of genius and madness. He's Ridge's son, a brilliant developer, and someone who has fought for redemption over and over again. But history tells us that when Thomas feels betrayed, rejected, or cornered, he becomes dangerous. With Ridge demeaning his mama by choosing Brooke yet again, Thomas sees red. The spoilers suggest that he wouldn't just be angry at Ridge. No, he'll conduct all his fury toward Brooke Logan, condemning her for destroying Taylor's happiness and breaking up his family. Could this set the stage for Thomas to become the bold and the beautiful's coming full-blooded villain? Brooke Logan's target on her back. Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, has been through numerous dishonors, love triangles, and indeed physical peril. But this time, the peril feels nearer to home than ever. Thomas knows Brooke since her love for Ridge, her history of broken pledges, and her vulnerability when it comes to family. Thomas has motive cover his mama, discipline Brooke, and reclaim the Forrester family unit. Thomas has occasion working at Forrester Creations means he sees Brooke regularly, giving him plenitude of access. The spoilers allude that Brooke may find herself in a situation where she does and indeed realize how important peril she's in until it's too late. Ridge's blind spot. Then's the kick. Ridge might be so dazed by his love for Brooke that he fails to see the storm brewing right under his nose. While he's busy celebrating his reunion with Brooke, he could be ignoring warning signs about Thomas's unstable jest. Could Ridge's eyeless devotion to Brooke put her directly in detriment's way? If history reprises itself, Ridge's incapability to see Thomas's darker side could lead to tragedy. Taylor Hayes' desolation and fear. Taylor's heartache is inarguable, but what happens when she starts to suspect that Thomas may take effects too far? Will Taylor try to stop her son before he crosses a line? Or will her own bitterness toward Brooke beget her to turn an eyeless eye? Worse yet, could Taylor's grief energy Thomas's wrathfulness, making effects indeed more dangerous for Brooke? This dynamic sets up a mama-son story that could explode into one of the darkest bends the show has seen in times. Possible scripts how Brooke's life could be in danger. Let's presume on how the bold and the beautiful might play this out. Sabotage at Forrester Creations. Thomas could use his design work to set up Brooke in a dangerous situation at the office. An accident. Brooke might find herself trapped in an accident that doesn't feel so accidental, like a auto boskage failure or a sabotaged runway show. Manipulation. Thomas could manipulate others, including Hope or Douglas, to turn against Brooke, emotionally destroying her before moving in for commodity more minatory. Direct battle, a heated showdown between Thomas and Brooke could turn violent. Each of these scripts raises the stakes and positions Brooke as the ultimate target of Thomas's fury. The bigger picture: what this means for the Forrester family. This plot doesn't just affect Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor. It has ripple goods across the entire Forrester family. Hope Logan will be torn between her mama and the father of her child, Thomas. Douglas Forrester could formerly again come a pawn in his father's schemes. Steffy Forrester may be forced to choose between fidelity to her mama and her family, or peace with Brooke. Eric and the Forresters might eventually have to defy Thomas formally and for all. The entire family could be ripped piecemeal and Brooke may not survive the fallout. Could this be the end for Brooke Logan? Now, let's ask the big question: is Catherine Kelly Lang's Brooke Logan really in peril of being written out? It's doubtful the show would permanently kill off such an iconic character, but that doesn't mean Brooke wouldn't face life-hanging peril. Detergents thrive on suspension, and this could fluently come the kind of plot where Brooke slightly escapes with her life. The real purpose may be to push Ridge, Taylor, and Thomas into dramatic competitions and to show just how far Thomas is willing to go. Conclusion: the bold and the beautiful is about to explode. The rearmost spoilers are setting up one of the most explosive bends in the bold and the beautiful history. Ridge choosing Brooke over Taylor is nothing new, but this time, the fallout is deadly. With Thomas twisting out of control, Brooke Logan may soon find herself in the fight of her life. A storm is brewing in Los Angeles. On the bold and the beautiful, no love triangle ever ends still. With Ridge Forrester ready to walk down from Taylor Hayes and recommit to Brooke Logan, the stage is set for the kind of drama only daytime television can deliver. But then's the burning question every addict is brooding right now: will Brooke Logan pay the ultimate price for Ridge's choice? The answer may lie in the dangerous state of mind of one man, Thomas Forrester. Thomas Forrester: a history of darkness. Thomas, Matthew Atkinson, has long been one of the most unpredictable characters in the B&B macrocosm. Indeed, during his so-called good stripes, there's always a darkness stewing just below the face. His history speaks for itself. Preoccupation with Hope Logan that crossed into dangerous home. Manipulating Douglas into keeping secrets that nearly destroyed families. Gaslighting Brooke and Liam with elaborate falsehoods. And, of course, the ignominious period when his jest was criticized on a brain excrescence, an accessible way for the pens to explain down his psychotic gyrations. But the verity is, no excrescence in the world can completely explain Thomas's capacity for preoccupation and destruction. He's a ticking time lemon. Thomas's mission: guarding his parents' love. Since his return, Thomas has been concentrated on one charge: getting Ridge and Taylor to the balcony. For Thomas, this isn't just about love, it's about confirmation, redemption, and proving that his family can eventually be whole again. He wants to see his parents united, not just for their happiness, but for his own sense of belonging. But when Ridge calls off the marriage, that fantasy shatters. And if there's one thing we know about Thomas, it's that he doesn't handle rejection or loss well. The warning: Brooke Logan in the crosshairs. Suckers saw the nipping boding just last week. Thomas possessed Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, and advised her to stay out of his parents' relationship. That moment wasn't just a heated argument. It was a red flag, a signal that Thomas's preoccupation is about to helical into dangerous home. Spoilers suggest that this battle was just the morning, an exercise of the chaos Thomas is able of unleashing when he feels cornered. Will Brooke Logan pay the price? Now that Ridge has chosen Brooke formally again, Thomas's rage will have only one target. And that target is Brooke. But how will Thomas make her pay? Let's explore the most explosive possibilities. Public demotion. Thomas could expose Brooke's history dishonors, turning the Forrester family against her. Career sabotage. As a developer, Thomas might manipulate effects at Forrester Creations to ruin Brooke's character. Emotional warfare. He could use Douglas or Hope to emotionally devastate Brooke. Physical danger. If his rage gets the stylish of him, could Brooke find herself in a life-hanging accident? The possibilities are endless, but all roads point to one thing: Thomas wants vengeance. Taylor Hayes, a mother's dilemma. As Ridge pulls down and Thomas spirals, Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, will be caught in an insolvable position. On one hand, she'll be devastated by Ridge's treason. On the other, she'll see her son unraveling before her veritably eyes. The big question is, will Taylor try to stop Thomas from targeting Brooke, or will her own resentment toward Brooke cloud her judgment? Still, she may unintentionally enable Thomas's destructive path if Taylor allows her bitterness to mold. Ridge's blind spot. Then's the heartbreaking irony: Ridge may suppose choosing Brooke is about love, but in reality, he's kindling a disagreement. Ridge has a long history of overlooking Thomas's dark side, brushing off his son's most dangerous conduct in the name of family fidelity. Could his eyeless devotion to Brooke this time eventually bring her dearly? Still, Brooke could find herself in a situation that spirals fully out of control if Ridge doesn't step by soon. Ridge calls off his marriage to Taylor. Gashes flow, hearts break, and Thomas seethes in the background. His light at Brooke doesn't go unnoticed. Thomas confronts Ridge about his decision. Their argument grows hot. Ridge insists it's his choice, but Thomas refuses to accept it. Latterly, Thomas corners Brooke again with another nipping warning. At Forrester Creations, Thomas begins sabotaging Brooke's work behind the scenes. Documents are altered, designs are lost, and whispers of incapacity begin to spread. Hope catches wind of Thomas's hostility toward Brooke. She confronts him, but Thomas gaslights her, averring Brooke is manipulating Ridge as she always does. Douglas overhears, torn between fidelity to his pater and his grandmother. Brooke hardly escapes a dangerous accident, maybe defective thickets on her auto or a sabotaged office setup. Dubitation lingers, but Thomas covers his tracks consummately. Taylor begins to suspect her son is twisting. She pleads with him to let it go, but Thomas refuses, declaring that Brooke will destroy everything if she isn't stopped. Occasion 7: Ridge's blindness. Brooke confides in Ridge about Thomas's jest. But Ridge dismisses her fears, defending his son as Misnu. Brooke grows frustrated and fearful for her safety. Occasion 8: The thriller. Thomas sets his most elaborate trap yet, leaving Brooke's fate hanging in the balance. Suckers are left with the haunting question: will Brooke Logan survive Thomas's vengeance? The ripple effect on the Forrester family. This plot wouldn't just impact Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor. The fallout will ripple across the entire Forrester clan. Hope Logan will find herself torn between guarding her mama and keeping peace with Thomas. Steffi Forrester will be forced to choose between her family's fidelity and her mammy's safety. Douglas Forrester could formerly again come a pawn in a dangerous family war. Eric and the rest of the Forresters will have to face the verity about Thomas's incapability to change. Thomas has nothing left to lose. In the high-drama world of the bold and the beautiful, feelings run briskly, secrets explode, and no bone is safe when preoccupation takes over. According to the rearmost spoilers, Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, is about to enter one of the darkest chapters of his life. Not only has Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., decided to leave Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, and reunite with Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, but Thomas's particular life has collapsed, too. His love with Paris Buckingham, Diamond White, has atrophied, leaving him without love, stability, or stopgap. And when Thomas feels cornered, he becomes dangerous. With his reverse against the wall, Thomas may set his sights on the one person he blames for everything: his mammy, Brooke Logan. The collapse of Thomas's relationship with Paris. Paris Buckingham sounded like the one woman who could base Thomas. She was probative, bubbly, and offered him a chance at a fresh launch after times of chaos. But their relationship was no way erected on steady ground. Paris had dubiety from the morning, knowing Thomas's history with Hope and his manipulative history. Thomas no way gave his full heart, because deep down, his focus was always on his parents' reunion. Once Ridge and Taylor's marriage fell piecemeal, Thomas's preoccupation with Brooke reignited, leaving Paris on the outside. Their bifurcation was explosive, but it cut Thomas deeply. Spoilers suggest Thomas will see the end of this love as evidence that he's fated to lose everyone he cares about, unless he takes matters into his own hands. Hope Logan not an option. Suckers have long suspected about Thomas's moping preoccupation with Hope Logan, Annika Noel. At times, he sounded fixated, indeed delusional, about their future. But those days are gone. Hope has made it abundantly clear that her fidelity is with Liam, and she wouldn't be swooping in to press Thomas this time. Hope may pity Thomas, but she's too busy holding her own life together to save him. That rejection leaves Thomas adrift, emotionally unstable, and far more likely to lash out at the one woman he sees as standing in the way of everything he wants. Brooke Logan. Ridge breaks Taylor's heart, and Thomas snaps. The spoilers indicate that Ridge will formally again break Taylor's heart by recommitting to Brooke. For Thomas, this isn't just a romantic treason, it's a particular bone. His dreams of a united family are crushed. His fidelity to his mama feels ignored. His warnings to Brooke feel to have fallen on deaf cognizance. Thomas is left with nothing but rage, and that rage needs an outlet. Unfortunately for Brooke, she's the perfect target. Brooke Logan in the line of fire. Thomas has formerly shown his hostility toward Brooke by advising her to stay out of his parents' relationship. Now that Ridge has chosen her, Thomas may decide that the only way to cover Taylor is to remove Brooke from the picture altogether. But what does that mean? Could Thomas really cross the line into physical peril? Let's explore the intimidating possibilities. Script 1: An explosive argument. The first battle between Brooke and Thomas could start as nothing further than a screaming match. Brooke will try to reason with him, but Thomas's wrathfulness has been stewing too long. He may charge her of destroying Taylor's happiness. He could comb up every reproach from Brooke's history. In his rage, he might lash out physically or back her into a corner. What begins as a heated argument could helical into commodity far more dangerous and far more endless. Script 2: Hijacking and Vengeance. Spoilers tease an indeed darker possibility: Thomas might abduct Brooke. This isn't the first time a Forrester has taken hopeless action. Cleaner operas thrive on shocking twists, and Thomas twisting into a hijacking plot would shoot shockwaves through Los Angeles. Brooke could evaporate without a trace, leaving Ridge frantic. Taylor might be torn between guarding her son and saving her rival. Hope and Liam would scramble to uncover the verity, dragging Douglas into the chaos formerly again. Imagine the drama if Thomas stashes Brooke down in some insulated cabin or remote position, induced it's the only way to keep Ridge and Taylor together. Script 3: A deadly accident. There's also the nipping chance that Thomas may not intend to kill Brooke, but his rage could beget a deadly accident. A push during a fight, a sabotaged auto, or a misestimated scheme could leave Brooke adhering to life. However, Thomas would be plunged into a full-bloated villain bow, with the Forrester family forced to pick sides if this happens. Taylor Hayes: will she enable or stop her son? Taylor is about to face an insolvable dilemma. Still, she risks being complicit in his crimes if she defends Thomas. Still, she could lose her son ever if she exposes him. Taylor's resentment toward Brooke may cloud her judgment, making her vacillate just long enough for Thomas's conduct to helical beyond form. Could Taylor's love for her son allow her to excuse the unwarrantable? Ridge's blind spot. Ridge's love for Brooke has always dazed him to the troubles around them. And when it comes to Thomas, Ridge has a long history of making defenses. He wants to believe his son can change, but this time, denial could bring Brooke her life. Suckers should brace themselves for heartbreaking scenes of Ridge torn between his son and his soulmate. Then's how the drama might escalate in forthcoming occurrences. Thomas rolls from his split with Paris. Alone, bitter, and angry, he begins to unravel. Ridge calls off his marriage to Taylor. Taylor collapses in gashes while Thomas glares at Brooke with pure venom. Brooke confides in Hope and Ridge that Thomas scares her. They dismiss her enterprises, averring he's just worried. Thomas confronts Brooke at Forrester Creations. Their screaming match turns violent as Thomas legs her against the wall, covenanting she won't ruin his family again. Brooke goes missing. Fear spreads as Ridge, Hope, and Liam realize she hasn't been seen in hours. All signs point to Thomas, but there's no evidence. Taylor learns the verity: Thomas has taken Brooke. But rather of turning him in, she hesitates, trying to talk him down. Ridge tracks Thomas down just as he's about to do commodity unrecoverable. The occasion ends with Brooke screaming in terror and Ridge soliciting his son to stop. Ripple goods across Los Angeles. This plot would shatter the Forrester family. Hope Logan would be caught between guarding her mama and managing Douglas's feelings. Steffi Forrester would be frightened to see her family helical, forcing her to make painful choices. Paris Buckingham could resurface, either to help or to expose Thomas's insecurity. The Logans and Forresters would find themselves at war formerly again. Addict propositions: could Sheila Carter get involved? No dangerous plot is complete without Sheila Carter lurking in the background. Some suckers presume that Thomas and Sheila could form a crooked alliance. However, Sheila might exploit his vulnerability, manipulating him into targeting Brooke for her own gain if Thomas feels cornered.